Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viriyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Puranana Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah. वाक्यादि युक्ति अनुभवयोः विशेषः. Between vakya and yukti and between vakya and anubhava there is a difference. Vakyadi yukti anubhavayoho. Yukti and anubhava have been made into one word. Yukti anubhavayoho visheshaha. Between vakya and yukti and between vakya and anubhava there is a difference. What is the difference? The difference is that about vakya you can argue, about yukti and anubhava you cannot argue. It is not possible to argue against anybody. Yukti is the same. Yukti is there is a yukti, logic, about logic and experience. Experience that you have, not experience that you are going to get. That is not what is anubhava. Anubhava means anubhava that you have. That is the meaning of the word anubhava. Anubhava means anubhava that you have already. Your experience. What is your experience? That is the anubhava. What you don't have, the anubhava that you don't have, you can never get. Swamiji, why not? The objective pleasures we don't have, but then we can get them. But then the objective pleasures you can think of, you can remember. When what you can think of, what you can remember is not what we are talking. Is not the anubhava. We are talking about the anubhava. Anubhava, you are the anubhava swarupam. This is very important. You are anubhava swarupam, and the whole universe is anubhava vishayam, and therefore you have to experience. Like when the anubhava vishayam is negated, your knowledge, your experience that it is negated is there. Like before the birth there was darkness. This is not something that is believed. It is not based upon belief. It is your experience. Before the birth it was darkness, and that darkness is also falls within your awareness, and therefore that is your experience. You are anubhava swarupam. You are not anubhava vishayam. And vishayam is, these objects were not there before. This body was not felt before the birth. Before the birth or before I wake up. And therefore that's why you are called Anubhava Swarupa. And Anubhava Swarupa means your experience. The experience is not negated. The object of experience is negated. But the knowledge about the negation of an object of experience is not negated. The experience is not negated. The experience that the object of experience is negatable is accepted. That is not negated. The anubhava is not negated. The unnegatable is anubhava, please. That is why you are anubhava swarupam. You are of the nature of anubhava, and therefore you are not negatable. You are not negatable. And therefore, anubhava means anubhava. Everybody has to talk about the anubhava. Anubhava that is. Anubhava, you are there. You experience the jagrat. You experience the objects. You experience the light. You experience the dream. You experience darkness. All these things are experienced. Seeing the objects is called anubhava, the bhava of the objects, and not seeing the objects. Not seeing the objects looks like darkness. not perceiving the objects, it looks like darkness. And therefore, it is called, you experience the darkness, it is not your belief. Like in the deep sleep state, you experience darkness. It was all dark. These objects were not there. But how do you know what was the experience from the Jagrat Drishti, from the Jagrat point of view? Oh, wow, these objects were not there when you say it was indeed your experience. It was all dark when you say it is all your experience, and therefore it was not Anubhava Vishayam, it is Anubhava Swarupam, and therefore it is unnegatable. And therefore the darkness is your experience, object's presence is your experience, dream is your experience, this is your experience. That and whatever, and the Shastra is going to say, whatever is an objectifiable thing, every object falls within your Anuvaya experience. Within your experience, within you the experience. You are within you the experience. The experiencer. The experiencer is not something different from the experiencer. The experience is not something different from the experiencer. And therefore, every object falls within the Anubhava. And therefore, about that Anubhava, nobody can reject it. And no one, yukti you cannot reject. It is not rejectable. Anubhava is not rejectable. Yukti is not rejectable. The only argument is about the Vakya. Is the Shabda Pramanam or not Pramanam? Some people accept it, some people reject it. And therefore, that is a matter of dispute. But the Yukti and Anubhava are not matter of dispute. Everybody accepts Yukti and Anubhava. And therefore, Anubhava should be understood as Anubhava that is, you have. You are the Anubhava Swarupam. You are of the nature of Anubhava. You are of the nature of Anubhava. You don't have the Anubhava, you are the Anubhava. And then it looks as though you have the Anubhava, but then you are the Anubhava Swarupam. And therefore, this is very important to understand. And therefore, it is said there is a difference between Vakya and Yukti, and Vakya and Anubhava. And between Vakya and Yukti is, the Vakya is something that can be disputed about. Yukti is not disputable. Anubhava is not disputable. And therefore there is a difference between Vakya and Yukti, and Vakya and Anubhava. This is that is the headlines. यद्यपि चिरंतन अभियुक्त अभ्युपगत प्रमाणानि अंगीकृत्य कथां प्रवर्तयतः न कोऽपि प्रतिबंधकः. There is no obstacle when a person follows the Aviyukta. The ancient teachers, Abhiyukta means the teacher, the great, like Gaudapada Karika. Gaudapada is Abhiyukta, Veda Vyasa is Abhiyukta, Shankaracharya is Abhiyukta, means those who have become masters, the masters is called the masters of Vedanta. The masters of Vedanta are called Abhiyuktas. And those who have taught Vedanta correctly, Abhiyukta. Pravartayata, if you follow those, the Shabda Pramanyam, if it is accepted by the Abhiyuktas, that Shabda is the Pramanyam. Because when the seeker is the sought, I have told you before, when the seeker is the sought, then the only Pramanam is Shabda, the Aptavakyam, and Shastram is the Aptavakyam of the Parameshwara. All Vakyas are indeed Parameshwara Vakyas, and therefore, but they're all written by Veda Rishis. Rishis, maybe, but Rishi is not different from Ishvara. Rishi is Ishvara only. Rishi means Ishvara. Rishi Swarup means Ishvara. The one who has understood the Swarupa is Brahmavid Brahmayo Bhavati. The one who understands the Ishvara is none other than Ishvara. And therefore it is said And therefore, if you follow the Abhiyuktas Vakya, Shabda, when the seeker is the sought, then the Apta Vakyam is the only Pramanam. Shabda is the only Pramanam. When the 10th man is seeking the 10th man, then when the 10th man is seeking the 10th man, then at that time, somebody has to come and tell him that you are the 10th man. That is called Apta Vakyam. That Apta Vakyam is the Pramanam. Shabda is the Pramanam. Shabda Pramanam, if you accept, Shabda Pramanam, if you accept, then there will be no obstacle. तथा च शब्दस्य अपि अभियुक्ता गृहीत प्रामाण्यात् वाग्व्यवहारे निर्दिष्टः एव प्रवेशः इति निष्प्रयोजनः इव उक्तव्यवस्था प्रकारः. Even though it is said, it is true, when a spiritual teacher speaks, he is nirdushtah eva vagvyavaharah. Nirdushtah eva vagvyavaharah praveshah. Katha praveshah means he always argues without any dushtata, without any dushtata, without any dushtatvam. He doesn't talk a wicked language. He talks only the vagvyavahara. When he argues, all his arguments are based upon good language and good points, etc. And therefore spirituality, तथा च शब्दस्य अभियुक्त गृहीत प्रामाण्यात् वाग्व्यवहारे निर्दिष्टः एव प्रवेशः इति निष्प्रयोजनः एव उक्तव्यवस्था प्रकारः. And therefore, why do you have to say निष्प्रयोजनः इव? निष्प्रयोजनः इव means उक्तव्यवस्थाः. Why do you have to say that? Only you have to accept the Shabda Pramanyam. If you have to accept the Shabda Pramanyam that is accepted by the Abhiyuktas, then alone, then there will be no obstacle. All these things, why do you have to say? And because this has to be said, because Shastra, regarding the Shastra, Shabda Pramanyam, the Advaitis themselves, the teachers themselves argue. That is said in the next sentence. तथापि अभियुक्ताः एव the teachers themselves vipravadante, they differ among themselves. Shabda Pramanya Vishwe, in the matter of Shabda Pramanyam, Ityetatu na vismartavim. This should not be forgotten. This should not be forgotten. Meaning what? Even the teacher, even the Abhiyuktas, the what we call the great Jnanis, the great Rishis themselves, argue among themselves. Some people accept Shabda as the Pramanam. Some people don't accept Shabda as the Pramanam. But I accept Shabda as the Pramanam. Shabda is the Pramanam. Shastra is the Pramanam. Vedanta is the Pramanam. Vedantanam Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta, otherwise called Upanishads, is the Pramanam. Vedanta, it is called Vedanta. It is not the topic, it is the final topic. It's not in the final pages of the Veda. It is the final topic, and therefore it is called Vedanta. Where even if it is there in the middle of the Veda, it doesn't matter at all. It is not in the final Veda. It is not in the final pages of Veda, and therefore it's called Vedanta. Vedanta does not mean the final, what is found in the final pages. That is not called Vedanta. Vedasya Antaha. And no. It means only, it is the final topic. You can know only up to that point. You can only know yourself. You can't know anything beyond. And anything beyond anything beyond Parameshwara you cannot know. And you can only know up to Parameshwara. When you know Parameshwara, you stand as a Parameshwara. And therefore, there is no, even the rishis talk about, argue about the Shabda Pramanyam. विप्रवदन्ते तथापि अभियुक्ताः एव विप्रवदन्ते शब्दप्रमाणविषये इत्येतत् न विस्मर्तव्यम्. This should not be forgotten. What should not be forgotten? The fact that the rishis themselves argue against one another when it comes to Shabda Pramanyam. When it comes to Shabda Pramanya Vishaya, when it comes to Shabda Pramanya Vishaya, the topic of Shabda Pramanyam, is Shabda the Pramanam, is Aptavakya Pramanam, Pramanavakyam or not? How do we know? That for that we say only Aptavakyam is the Pramanam. There is no other Pramanam. Iti, but even though some people say accept Aptavakyam as the Pramanavakyam, and some people say no, they don't accept. Iti Vipravadante. Vipravadante means they differ among themselves. Vipravadante means they differ among Viruddham Pravadante. They differ among themselves. न केवलं शब्द प्रमाण तथापि अभियुक्ताः ये विप्रवदन्ते शब्द प्रमाण विषये इत्येतन् न विस्मर्तुं should not be forgotten. शब्द प्रामाण्य विषये in the शब्द प्रामाण्य विषय in the matter of शब्द प्रमाण शब्द is शब्द the praman विषय is the शब्द the pramanam or not, is Vedanta the pramanam or not, or yukti or anubhava are enough. It is said no, yukti and anubhava are not enough. It has to be Vedanta also. Vedanta has the Anubhava. Vedanta includes the Anubhava. Vedanta refers to the Anubhava. Vedanta refers to the Yukti also. And Shruti Anugrahita Tarkaha. It is not any Tarka. It is not Keval Tarka. It is not Kutarka. It is a Shruti Anugrahita Tarkaha. That is acceptable. शब्द प्रामाण्य विषये हि न केवलं नव्याः किन्तु प्राचीनाः अपि आचार्याः विप्रतिपद्यन्ते स्म बहुलं. विप्रतिपद्यन्ते is latlakara, is a present tense, but a sma when you say, when you add sma, then it becomes the past tense. Vipratipadyante sma, vipratipadyante sma. They used to, even the prachina acharyas, even the ancient acharyas, not only modern teachers, but also the ancient teachers used to argue among themselves. They used to differ. Even then, modern teachers differ among themselves. And when it comes to Shabda Pramanam, I have told, when the seeker is the sought, when the sought is something that is right in front of you, when the snake is right in front of you, you are looking for the rope. Why you are asking what is this? At that time, only the Aptavakya only can work. Shabda alone can work. And therefore, it is said, Aptavakyam is the Pramanam. Shabda is the Pramanam. And therefore, Shabda being now is the Pramanam. You have to study the Vedanta. You have to do the logic. And you have to go by the Anubhava. Because the Vedanta refers to both Yukti and Anubhava. Anubhava, it talks about all the three states. And then your experience pertains to all the three states, and all the three states are within you, and that is why it is said in Dakshinamurti Stotram, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam. It is like the reflection of the city in the mirror, Nijantargatam, but it is within you. It is non-separate from you, and therefore the universe appears as though the thing, but it is nothing but a thought. It appears, it looks as though an object, but it is not. It is only pratyaya rupaha. It is only pratyaya rupaha, but it looks like an object. And whatever it looks like, it doesn't matter. But then it is not separate from you, and you include like the chips. Chips include chip includes any number of records in the same manner, and the atma includes any number of anatmas within it, and therefore it is a material. Atma is the material cause from all the of all the anatmas, and as the upadana for all the anatmas, you cannot say that Atma is not Brahma. Atma is Brahman. Atma is Brahman. That is why Soyam Atma Chatushpad it is said here. That Atma is Chatushpad. It has four padas. Lord Pada Karikakara says this Atma has got four padas. And the Atma has got four padas, means Jagrat Pada, Swapna Pada, Sushupti Pada. Sushupti is a Pada, and Chaturtha Pada. You are a Turiyam, you are Chaturtha Pada. The one who knows all the three states is the fourth. The one who understands all the three states, the one who experiences all the three states, are the fourth state, are the fourth. And then the fourth is the self. And therefore, the fact is the fourth is the fact. The fourth is the fact is the self, fourth is the self. And therefore, that is what is said here. Therefore, Shabda Pramanya Vishay, in the matter of Shabda Pramanya, na kevalam navyaha kintu prachinaha api acharyaha vipratipadyante sma bahulam. Bahulam means a lot. They used to argue, even not only the Navyas, but also the ancient teachers used to argue among themselves about the Shabda Pramanyam, Bahulam. Astika Darshanakarai, among the Astikas means Astika Darshanakarai means among the Astikas means those who accept the Vedanta, those who are Hindus, they accept the Vedanta Pramanam effortlessly, and therefore Vedanta Pramana, Astika Darshanakarai, yet Satyameva, it is true, Tat Pramanyam Angikritamiti. And they accept the Vedanta as the Pramanam, Shabda as the Pramanam. But it is still, but Tatapi, Shabdasya Nityatva, Anityatva, Shabda is looked upon by the people as Nityam and Anityam. Some people say that it is Nityam, some people say it is Anityam. In this manner, the Shabda is a Nityam. They say, and therefore, some people accept it, some people reject it. Shabda is a Pramana. Because some people say it is Nityam, some people say it is Anityam. Paurushayatva and Apaurushayatva. And also that it is spoken, the words are meant for Paurushayatvam and Apaurushayatvam. Apaurushayatvam is not the words. Apaurushayatvam means is the topic. We are talking about the topic. The topic is Apaurushayam. But then some people say these words are Shabda is the Apaurushayam. It is spoken by the Purusha, and it is not Apaurushayam. Apaurushayam means it is not spoken by the Jiva. In this manner, Paurushayam, Apaurushayam, Acharya Viprutva Sma Bhavalam, Astika Darshanakarai, Yat Satyameva, Tat Pramanyam Angikritamiti, Tat Pramanyam Angikritamiti. It is true that Darshanakaras, Astikas have accepted they accept the Shabda as the Pramanam. Shabda as the Pramanam. They accept the Angikritamiti. It is true. It's Satyameva. Darshanakarai, yet Satyameva, Tat Pramanyam Angikritamiti. Tathapi, but still, Shabdasya Nityatva, Anityatva, Paurushayatva, Apaurushayatve, Pratyaksha Anumanayoho, Shabdena Virodhe Sati. And when you say Pratyaksha, you say there was a dust smoke and you think there is a fire there. In this manner, there is a fire there. And so when we say Pratyaksha and Anumana, they go against the Shruti Pramanam. Shruti as the only Pramanam. Yukti and inference doesn't tally. The inference and Shabda as the Pramanam do not tally. And therefore, Tathapi, Shabdasya Nityatva, Anityatve, Paurushayatva, Apaurushayatve, Pratyaksha Anumanayoho, Shabdena Virode, Sati, Shabda Prabalya, Shabda Prabalya, Daurbalya. Some people accept it as Prabalam, some people accept it as Durbalam, and therefore some people reject it, Shabda as the Pramanam, Daurbalya, Chaiti, Ityevamadi Vishesha Stalesh, Paraspara Viruddham, Pratipatti Rasti, Asteva. There is a Pratipatti, there is a difference among themselves. Those who argue among themselves, those who argue among themselves, there is viruddha pratipatti. Viruddha pratipatti means there is a difference of opinion. This difference of opinion visabdena विरोधे सति शब्द प्राबल्य दौर्बल्य चैत्य एवं आदि विशेष स्थलेषु परस्पर विरुद्ध प्रतिपत्तिः अस्त्येव. It is there. आस्तिकानामपि, even though they accept the Vedanta, but still there is a difference of opinion when it comes to Shabda Pramanyam. शब्दोपन्यासे तादृश विशेष परस्पर विरुद्ध प्रतिपत्तिः अस्त्येव आस्तिकानामपि आदौ एव शब्देन उपन्यासे. When I in the Adaveva, right in the beginning, I told you, Shabda, when I was speaking about the Shabda Pramanyam, Adav, Shabda Upanyase, Tadrisha Vishaye, Vadinoho, Visam Sati, Vadasya Vanaramba Dushpararaniyasa. And then, therefore, when there is a difference of opinion, then there is no argument among themselves. Then there is no, it is unavoidable that there is no argument. There is no discussion among themselves. Why? Because even astikas are there. Some people accept it, some people reject it. So when you accept it, it is for yourself, and when you reject it, it is for yourself. You don't want to accept in order to refute all the people. You don't. If you don't accept, it is not for refuting others. It is for yourself. You reject the Shabda as a Pramana. तादृशविशेषवादिनोः विसंवादे विरुद्धसंवादे सति वादस्य एव अनारम्भः दुष्परिहरणीयः सत्. Choicelessly, there is no discussion. Choicelessly, there is no discussion. There is no discussion because the astikas themselves, even though you accept the Shabda as a, some people accept the Shabda as a Pramana, some people don't accept the Shabda as a Pramana. And in that case, there is no argument at all. There is no argument at all. Some people accept, some people. Between the acceptors and the rejectors, there cannot be any argument. There cannot be any discussion. And therefore, on the basis of the Shabda as the Pramana. On the basis of Anubhava and Yukti, they can argue, not on the basis of Shabda as a Pramana. That topic, they are free from. Astika nameva आदव शब्दोपन्यासे तादृश विशेष विषये वादिनो विसंवादे सति वादस्य एव अनारम्भः दुष्परिहरणीयः स्यात् तस्माद् युक्ति अनुभव परिशिष्यते. Now what are left are only yukti and anubhava. Parisishyate means they are left out. Yukti and anubhava are only parisishyate. Parisishyate means they are left out. Na kenapi paरीक्षकेण by no parikshika, by no examiner, nirasto. They are not rejected by anybody. Shakanira, it is not possible to renounce also. It is not possible to renounce because if you want to determine what the truth is, you can only determine the truth only on the basis of yukti and anubhava. And therefore it's shakya nivarana, shakya nirasa va. Sarvatrapi, he. In all the cases, भूतवस्तु विषयक विचारे युक्तये एव समाधि साधने क्रियन्ते. In all the every way, when it comes to a fact, bhutavastu means a fact. Vishayaka vichare, when it comes to the inquiring about the a fact, only yukti anubhava, yuktaya eva sadhane kriyante. Yuktis are the only sadhanas. Sarvairapi, by everybody. Yadi te abhyuvagachanti sarvanyapi pramanani, yadiva na abhyuvagachanti. Whether they accept the pancha pramanas or they don't accept the pancha pramanas, all the pramanas, whether they accept or not, it doesn't matter. But they follow the yuktis. If you have to inquire about a fact, what is, then you have to follow the yukti. And therefore, You can't reject all the yuktis also. You can't reject all the yuktis. You can't reject all the animals. Sarvatrapi hi bhutavastu vishaya vichare yukta eva sadhane kriyante sarvairapi yadi te abhibhagachanti sarvanyapi pramanani yadiva na abhibhagachanti. Whether Shabda is accepted as pramanam or not, it doesn't matter. You have to follow. You follow only the yukti, and there, if you have to determine what the fact is, if the fact has to be followed, if the fact has to be understood, if you have to, even the scientist, how to shoot a thing up to Chandrayaan, Chandrayaan के लिए, if you have to send something, then they understand what is it that's a fact. That is factually what is it that we have to do. What are the laws that are present that can send something up, and therefore, in that matter only, you may not, whether you accept all the pramanas or not, Shabda is a pramanam or not, you have to follow the yukti, and therefore yukti is followed by everybody. Sarvatrapi tasmat yukti anubhavo परिशिष्यते न केनापि परीक्षकेण निरस्तौ शक्य निरासो वा सर्वत्रापि भूतवस्तु विषयक विचारे युक्तय एव साधने क्रियन्ते सर्वैरपि यदि ते अभ्युपगच्छन्ति सर्वाण्यपि प्रमाणानि यदि वा न अभ्युपगच्छन्ति, whether they accept or not, whether they accept Shabda as a pramanam, even the Pancha Pramanas, if you get a doubt, if you have a doubt, that's Swatah Pramanam. If the senses, if you get a doubt about the tree, then what do you consult? You don't consult another pramanam. Ears you don't consult. You consult only the eyes, and therefore the eyes culminate in the right knowledge of the tree, that it is green and that it is a tree. Similarly, the sound also, if you don't hear properly, you try to hear properly, and therefore it is. Manan Mishra used to say, when Shankaracharya went to argue with him, he wanted to convert into a sannyasi, convert him into a sannyasi. At that time, he asked somebody, where is Manan Mishra's house? Then he said, Manan Mishra if you go to his house, at the gate there are some birds which speak, which keep repeating what Manan Mishra says every morning to his students and to everybody. And Sutha Pramanam, na Paritah Pramanam. Every Pramanam is Sutha Pramanam. Every Pramanam is Sutha Pramanam, na Paritah Pramanam. Paritah Pramanam. Yeah, Pramanam is something that is self-evident. And therefore, like just as the senses are self-evident, you don't have to, every sense object, every sense organ is, the eyes, if you don't see the eyes properly, if you don't see an object correctly, then you see again the eyes, you consult the same eyes until you see it properly, and therefore it is Swataha Pramanam. The senses are Swataha Pramanam, na Paratah Pramanam. In this manner, the maid says, the one who was carrying on her head the pot of water, she said, if you go to the gate of the Pandra Mishra's house, there will be some birds which say, Sudha Pramana na Parata Pramana. Even they have picked up his words, na Sudha Pramana na Parata Pramana. Sudha Pramana na Parata Pramana. Pramanam is always Pramakaranam Pramanam, Sudha Pramanam. And therefore, na Parata Pramana, it doesn't have to be substantiated by another Pramanam. Every Pramanam is Swataha. It is not Parataha. It doesn't have to be substantiated by any Pramana. Whether they accept Pramanam or not, whether they accept all the Pramanas or not, it is said when you have to discuss about the fact here, you use the yukti, you follow the logic, and that logic is something that it is not possible for anybody to reject it. The yukti is very important, and therefore it is said here, na abhyogachanti. Yattu tarkasya apratishthanaat pratisiddhaha sopi. No, no. Even what is it is said, tarkasya apratishthanaat. Tarka being apratishthana. Apratishthana means it is not conclusive. Logic is not conclusive. It can always be brought by a better logic, and therefore it can be dismissed by a better logic, and therefore tarka is not conclusive about the truth, and therefore that also should be included? No, tan manoharam, na tan manoharam. Manoharam means your mental, for your entertainment you can accept, but it is not to be accepted. Sarvadika anubhavam, sarvadika anubhavam, everybody's experience. Vinapi swabhyuhamatreena yastarka, vinapi, without taking into account the others' anubhava, universal experience. Anubhava means universal experience. Everybody accepts, everybody sees the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti, and that is the Anubhava. And everybody experience, everybody is the same truth, and therefore that is the Anubhava. There is no difference between one person's Anubhava and another person's Anubhava. This is the thoughts of the objects, the pleasures of the objects are not called Anubhava Swarupam. They are not called Anubhava. They are indeed thoughts only. And the pleasures are thoughts. The pains are also thoughts. And therefore, Sukham is the Swarupa of the Atma. It is not the thought. Sukham is the Swarupa of the Atma, whereas the Dukkham is in the form of the thoughts. What you call the objects, you enjoy the objects only to minimize the Dukkham. To minimize the Dukkham. You eat food to minimize the Dukkham, to be free from the Dukkham of pangs of hunger. And therefore it is said the thoughts of dukkham should not be accepted as anubhava, not an manoharam, sarvadika anubhavam vina, the universal experience without the vinapi. So abhyuha matrayana yas tarka, what you imagine, something, the tarka that you imagine, tena yedadrishasya virodha shankya na bhavati ityeva. Chinta Chirantanahi Buddhiri Tattvat means Uktatvat. Even the ancient scholars have spoken, have told that the, the logic that is based on sense data and the logic that you imagine something, between them there is no difference between Chiranditi Udiri Tattvat. There is no difference between your Kapora Kalpitam and Kutarka. There is no difference, and therefore it is said na tan manoharam sarvadika anubhavam vinapi swa abhyuha matrena starka tena etadrishasya virodha shankya na bhavati ityeva. Chirantanaihi means by the ancient. Udiritatva Uktatvat. Nai Sarvasya Tarkasya Apratishtatvam Sadhayatam Shakyam. It's not possible to accept that the whole Tarka is bad. Only the sense data based Tarka is alone, is Kutarka. That Tarka is not good for knowing the truth. Sense data based Tarka. Objectifiability based tarka, objectifiability based sense data based tarka is not it has no nishta when it comes to arriving at the truth, and therefore Shruti anugrahes this tarka. The tarka that is accepted by the Shruti is different from this it has no pratishtha. The tarka that has no pratishtha. Nahi sarvasya tarkasya apratishthatvam sadhayatum shakyam. It's not possible to say that the entire tarka is apratishthitattvam. It is inconclusive. But there is a lot of logic accepted by the Shruti, which concludes, which culminates in Vedanta, which culminates in Brahma Vidya, and therefore we can't say it has no pratishtha. It has pratishtha. Pratishthitatvam sadhayatum shakyam. Tat sadhanepi tarkasya apekshitatvat. Even the tarka that is accepted by even to arrive at the tarka has no pratishtha. You require tarka. Even to refute tarka, you require tarka, and therefore, so without tarka, you cannot do anything, and therefore, it is necessary. Yetena, with this, what do we get? Naisha tarkena matirapaniya. Chandogya Kathopanishad says, this tarka, naisha tarkena matirapaniya. This knowledge cannot be gained through tarka alone. Naisha tarkena madhirapaneya. Na tarka shastrada adagdhaya. You are not, it is moksha dharma. Na tarka shastra adagdhaya. Moksha dharma. It means Krishna is talking to Bhishma. That is na tarka shastra adagdhaya. Adagdhaya means you are not burnt by this tarka. Because you are not burnt by the tarka, you can be taught. Adagdhaya. Tarka vidyam anuraktaha nirarthikam. To be interested in tarka is indeed useless. To be interested in logic is indeed useless. Nirarthikam. And therefore, haitukan bakavrittinscha vangmatrena vinarchet. Vangmatrena. Haitukan means the tarka. Haituka, it is haitukam. It is hetu. It is hetu based logic, and baka pravritti. Baka pravritti means like a crane, like a baka, like a chirping, like simply chirping, doing the japa of tarka is to be avoided. Vang matrena api na archyet. Don't be dedicated to it by your words. Ityadi vachanadi udahritya. These words having cited udahritya. Tarkam anadriyamana parihrita bhavanti. This tarka ko the disrespecters of the tarka have to be avoided. The disrespecters of tarka are avoided in this manner. In this manner, naisha tarkena matirapaneya, na tarka shastra dagdhaya iti. Even though tarka, it is said, in all these vakyas it is said that the tarka is to be avoided, but the tarka, you cannot avoid tarka. Inconclusive tarka is different from conclusive, culminating tarka. And therefore, sarvatrapi kevalas tarkaha ityeva prayujyamanasya shushka tarkasyeva nirakarana. Only the shushka tarka means dry logic has to be avoided. Only the dry logic means this sense data based logic has to be avoided. Has to be avoided. So tarka is avoided. Tarka samanya nirakaranam. Tarka samanya. If the tarka, the whole tarka is samanya means the whole tarka is avoided. If the whole tarka has to be avoided, then there should be ropanam pakshasya eva putra kashikare. If you say that the entire tarka has to be avoided, then Vedanta Mimamsa Shastrasya eva tarkatmakasya. Vedanta, even the Bhashakaras, Brahma Sutras should not be studied, should not have been written, because they have been written only on the basis of tarka, and therefore they should not have been written. They should not have been written. Tarkatmakasya syad arambhaniyatvam. Tasmat, therefore, tarkaha sarvada pratisiddhaha. Atha tarkaha sarvata pratisiddhaha. Tasmat na tarkaha. Na is there. Tasmat, therefore, na tarkaha sarvada pratisiddhaha. Tarka should not be rejected totally. Tarka is only the sense data based tarka has to be prohibited, is avoidable, but the conclusive tarka has to be accepted. Anuvascha visishya sarvenapi anubhava is given here, and the next is anubhava. This we will see in next class. Anuvascha, onwards we have to see. Thank you very much. And please, we are doing only the first gatta. First gatta means first section. And in the first section, the rules and regulations have been given. And therefore you find it difficult. But the topic is yet to begin. The topic begins from the second gatta, from the second session. That is after 2 or 3 pages. After 2 or 3 pages. And have patience, and we will begin with the topic. We are only talking about the rules and regulations, and therefore it is not very interesting for you. And therefore, please don't be in a hurry. 2 3 classes are there, and after 2 3 classes, and then there will be topic. This rules and regulations also have to be understood, because it's all going to be, because you may argue with somebody, and then you must know exactly Shabda Pramana. Some people accept, some people reject it. Even the Prachinas, the ancient teachers also, some of them accept, some of them reject. But the Yukti and Anubhava cannot be rejected by anybody. Anubhava is not thinking about heaven, and that is not Anubhava, that is Abhyo Matram. That is your imagination. That is not Anubhava. That is your imagination. Anubhava is only your existence. Your existence is Anubhava. You see the Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. How do you know that there is a tree, there is a rock? Because you see it, and therefore seeing is the pramanam. Seeing is the pramanam. That is the pramanam, and therefore, and seeing it, if you see an object, then it is a pramanam. How do you know that there is a sound, big dhvani, and I hear it, and everybody hears it, and therefore it is a pramanam. In the same manner, the 5 senses are the pramanas. If you hear the sound, and if you can't hear properly, you try again the ears, and therefore it is swataha pramanam. It is swataha. You don't try another pramanam. You don't try to see the sound. You don't try to taste the sound, touch the sound, smell the sound. You only want to hear the sound. And the sound has to be heard. Therefore, it is swataha pramana. Whatever you don't see, you don't see the color properly. You try again the eyes, and the eyes are only tried again, and therefore that is swataha pramana. So when you try the same pramana, that is swataha pramanyam. And therefore, all these things, the rules and regulations have been given by the Acharya, and therefore let it be understood as much as possible, and then later on the topic will understand. You will be able to. It will be able to impress you that when we begin the topic, and therefore don't be in a hurry. And let us continue for 2 or 3 classes, and then the topic will begin. Thank you very much. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. Thank you.